Good evening. It is 5 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. It looks like we have quorum, so we'll move into roll call. So Hillary Baird at this time is absent. Hazel Wilson,
Present.
Kimberly Marquez Cortez, present. T. Lek Ying is not here, is absent at this time. Marnie McKenzie. Is it on?
Here.
Thank you. Christy Gardner,
Present.
Sandra Stevens,
Present.
Kathleen Salas Tietgen. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong.
Present.
Ivana Wheeler.
Present.
Did I skip you, Arshay? Arshay.
Present.
Thank you. Alrighty, so that is roll call at this time. So it looks like we can move on to item number 3, public comments. And I have some already.
How many cards do we have? 5.
5.
Okay.
6, one more. Do we want to start off with the email one first?
Yeah, so we did receive a public comment who's not present physically, able to in the room, but I'm going to go ahead and read this public comment for the record. So it's made out attention to the 7-Eleven committee chair, Kimberly Marquez Cortez. So dear Miss Marquez Cortez, my name is Renee Sykes. My tutoring partner, Melba Tompkins, and I have been tutoring children for the past 2 years at Lincoln Elementary. We recently received information that Lincoln Elementary is at the top of the list for school closure. Ms. Tompkins and I are providing background information regarding our selection of Lincoln Elementary and a summary of the effects of our tutoring activities on the students. Ms. Tompkins and I attended Friendship Missionary Baptist Church in Vallejo, and our pastor, Justin Lester, wanted church members to be active at 2 of the schools here in Vallejo. One was Hogan High, the other Lincoln Elementary. That request was made to the membership 2 years ago. Melba and I answered that call and began tutoring several students in math, reading, and writing. The children who attend the school live in an area where they witness prostitution activity, dodge speeding cars, observe some form of blight, and are traumatized in some form or fashion in their personal lives. Lincoln Elementary provides a safe place for these students where they are fed, shown love, and have a positive chance in life. We were told these students were unable to write, we were not strong in math, and had limited reading skills. Ms. Tompkins and I took a handful of these students under our wings, talking to them, encouraging them, and rewarding them when they did well in the after-school tutoring sessions. This past year, we tutored children twice a week on Mondays and Wednesdays, and we believe the results of our efforts, along with the school's literacy coordinator, helped the second grade reading scores improve tremendously. What we saw with these children was academic improvement because someone cared and took time to listen to children in need. It warmed our hearts when we came into the school and were greeted with big smiles, hugs, and small gifts of appreciation. We are asking you not to remove the joy from these children who struggle mentally and physically every day to survive in a world that throws them away. Keep Lincoln Elementary School open so that these children are allowed to have a fighting chance at life and be able to maintain some joy, peace, and happiness. Matthew 19:14 states, "Let the little children come to me and do not hinder them, for to such belongs the kingdom of heaven." As adults, we should not hinder God's children. Having retired from a large East Bay city and witnessing what that school district did to children of color was heartbreaking and frustrating. Here I am witnessing the same thing here in Vallejo. The go-to school for Lincoln Elementary students is Highland Elementary, and that school is on the list for closure. How are these children supposed to get to school when their parents or guardians are struggling to support their children to school? What other efforts are being made to support the families of these children impacted by these school closures? Will there be counseling available to these children who will be traumatized even more by these school closures? There are many more questions I could put forth, but I'm hoping the 7-Eleven committee will do the right thing and carefully consider the lives of impacted children. Our hope was to attend the next school board meeting on August 11th, but Ms. Tompkins and I are out of town, which is why you're receiving this letter instead. We will be praying for the 7-Eleven committee, the children, parents, and staff of Lincoln Elementary School, hoping for a positive outcome. Nothing is impossible with God. Peace and blessings. And it's signed Renee Sykes and Melba Tompkins.
Thank you. So we do have 6, maybe 7 public comments at this time. And we'll do, I'll name off the first 3 so that they can get into order.
So the microphone is ready to go. Are you providing 3 minutes, 2 minutes? How many minutes are you providing per comment?
Since we only have 7, I propose 2 minutes. Does the committee have any objections? No? Okay, so 2 minutes.
Okay, we'll do 2 minutes.
So starting with Deborah Roeder, apologies if I'm saying anyone's name incorrectly, Kendall Paulos, sorry, and Kaylee Cameron.
Hi, my name is Deborah Roeder, and I have called Stephan Manor my home since 1993. I'd like to emphasize just a few key reasons to keep the school open. I have many, but just a few today, rather than the Pennycook site. At the moment, Stephan has 11 possible rooms available for classrooms to move in and other programs like the DHH without having to bring in new portables. However, if new portables are necessary, Stephan already has a new blacktop that can accommodate 4 to 6 portables, maybe more. The Pennycook facility would need to pave probably the area on the upper grass and create access to electricity and potable water, all of which costs money, which the district, as we know, does not have. I was at Stephan when it was housed on the upper grass of Pennycook in 2002 and 2003 and can say that it was not ideal. It had limited resources and was isolated from the rest of the school, which is not ideal in an emergency. This arrangement only worked as a temporary solution until the new school was rebuilt, and only because we had to make it work. Stephan's site has just been upgraded with new HVAC systems, a new blacktop, new roofs that don't leak, and a new playground. If Pennycook still needs upgrades such as these, this is a large cost which the district is trying to eliminate. Finally, Stephan has a very large multi-purpose room, which is used for many things as a cafeteria, for assemblies, for evening community events, award ceremonies, the end of the year promotion, and as an emergency location for any unforeseeable disasters. Pennycook does not have a facility that can accommodate as many school families or community members at one time. Regardless of how the schools are merged, there will be an adjustment period. I believe because of the adequate facility space and upgrades, Stephan Manor site is ideal and the most cost-effective school to keep open. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kendall, and I'm here to speak for Stephan. Just my personal experience. Last year, I worked at Stephan as a Hey Tutor, and just being around the community, being around the teachers, being around the staff, being around the families, just all the resources that we have, it's propelled me into wanting to become a teacher. Now I'm in the ALDER program that's partnering with VCUSD, and I'm becoming a teacher. I wanted to return to Stephan, and I have a mentor teacher at Stephan, and Stephan Manor is just the school I want to be at. So I urge you guys to keep it open. Look at all of the resources we have. I know the church across the street provides so much for us. I just think we're a school that is so strong at the sense of community, the sense of togetherness that we have. All the programs we have in our after-school program, I got to see them firsthand. So I just urge you guys to keep us open. Personal experience is I am a person who's becoming a teacher who wants to work at Stephan. That should speak volume to the type of school that it is. And so that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kaylee, and I'm a teacher at Stephan Manor. I'm here to speak about why I think Stephan Manor site should remain open. I believe Stephan Manor site can offer a better location for students for many reasons. We've created a great relationship with the community around us, and particularly the Presbyterian Church and 7-Eleven. The church donates a lot of time by volunteering with our students, donates supplies, and also does food giveaways that our families frequently attend. 7-Eleven lets us park in our parking lot when needed and provides a great location for students and staff to get a last-minute snack or lunch before school starts. I know there are concerns about parking availability at Steffen's site, and we would love to have a parking lot in the back half of our field, which we currently don't use. This would be a relatively inexpensive addition compared to what other sites might need. In the meantime, parking in our lot that we have on the street in 7-Eleven has been adequate. Steffen would also be willing to do staggered dismissal times to help keep the streets less busy if that was another concern. Steffen's site has had many updates recently and is in really, really good condition. Steffen's site is technically one of the newest sites because we were rebuilt after our school burnt down in the early 2000s. This means that the site would require less maintenance and cost to upkeep, which is really important given our current budget restraints. I encourage the board and families to come and see how beautiful and open our Steffen site is. We also have a large multi-purpose room which allows students to eat lunch inside and houses our school performances and community nights where hundreds of people attend. The multi-purpose room allows us to connect with our community in a really, really important way and allows our families to be united. I believe that whatever staff, families, and students join Steffen would love it. We know that sites will be merging together and that there may be some growing pains, but I believe that it can be for the better. Steffen is a family and we love collaborating and working with everyone. Steffen welcomes everyone and we're really excited to house 3 new Alder residents this upcoming year to join our district. I know one discussion right now is between whether or not Pennycook should move to Steffen or Steffen should move to Pennycook, but I really think this is about what site can be the best option for our students and families. I believe that Steffen will provide a beautiful learning environment for staff and students and that it will attract more families to join our district. We're really excited about the possibility of adding even more staff and students to our family, so thank you.
Next, we have Betty Schultz, Margaret Pachalk, and Paula Blackshear.
Hello, I'm Betty Schultz. I'm a former teacher with the Vallejo Unified School District. Before that, though, I was an aide at Steffen Manor, where my children attended. And I'm also a member of the church across the street, Community Presbyterian. And I want to go over a few of the things that we as a church have done in just the past couple of weeks for the upcoming school year. First of all, we're putting together a give and get where parents can get new school clothes and give away the outgrown clothes from last year or whatever. We are doing coffee and donuts for parents on the first day of school. We are providing tutors in a number of the classrooms at Steffen. We have more people signed up to tutor and are anxious to do this. We also have occasional special needs that the school will call us and say, hey, we're short of pants because kids' pants get wet playing on the playground in the middle of winter. And so we'll provide emergency clothing for those kids, socks, and Kleenex for the classroom, wipes. Occasionally, we'll get a call and say, hey, we need something for the kids to do during rainy day recess. Do you have any puzzles? And so we have a puzzle drive, and over to the school go the puzzles. So we feel really like we're part of their community and they're a part of our community, and we would love to see them stay where they are and continue to grow.
I'm Margaret Pachalk, also from Community Presbyterian Church, and on behalf of our pastor who couldn't be here tonight, I'm reading a letter she wrote. Dear 7-Eleven Committee, I am writing to advocate for Stephen Manor Elementary to remain one of the campuses to stay open. I am the pastor of Community Presbyterian Church located at 2800 Georgia Street, directly across from Stephen Manor Elementary School. We are committed to making a positive impact on our immediate neighborhood. The church and the school has a decades-long partnership. This cooperation has strengthened in the past few years. In the 2024-25 school year, volunteers from the church provided over 175 hours on one-to-one work in the classrooms. There are additional volunteers signed up to assist this year. The church also provides facial tissues, hand sanitizer, and other small essentials that make a big difference. A local food distribution program shares food boxes with Stephen Manor families. There is an annual event called Give and Get, which you heard about. Volunteers from Jesse Bethel High School AVID class, as well as Alto Refugio Iglesia, a Spanish congregation that meets in our church, help with this event. All of this connection exists because of the geography. I also want to highlight the positive educational environment at Stephen Manor Elementary. There is school pride and identity in being a Stephen Manor Dragon. I have been impressed with the dedication of the teachers and their care for the school. There is a very low rate of turnover for teachers at Stephen Manor Elementary. The current principal is committed to this specific campus and community. Brenda Zander was a parent of students, staff member, teacher, and is now the principal. Her long-standing commitment to the school, the staff, and the local neighborhood is unique. Lastly, I do recognize the declining enrollment of the district. You all have difficult and necessary recommendations to make. Thank you for hearing community voices in your considerations. I am holding the process, the district, and the city in my prayers. Grace and peace, Reverend Wendy Kamiri Stager.
Hello, my name is Paula Blackshear. I attend Community Presbyterian Church, where the focus is loving our neighbor. One of our closest neighbors is Stephen Manor Elementary School. Our members have formed a strong partnership with Stephen Manor. Over the course of the school year, we support the students and staff in a variety of ways. Recently, we helped with expenses for fifth graders to attend science camp. Last Friday, we joined with volunteers from Rebuilding Together Solano County to participate in the Vallejo Stephen Manor Elementary back-to-school distribution. Our volunteers donated 125 grocery food bags and 75 children's books. And on Monday, August 18th, we'll be offering free coffee and donuts to parents as they drop off their kindergartners for their first day of school. The closing of Stephen Manor would leave a big void in our neighborhood and a loss of a strong community partnership. Thank you.
We have Teresa Sauceda, sorry if I said that wrong, Ashley Pizzamenti, and Lori Tachner. I can't do that.
Hi, I'm Reverend Teresa Sauceda. I worship at Community Pres. Much of what I would say has already been said, but having had been a parent of kids at Pennycook a long time ago and volunteering at Stephen Manor, the one thing I would add is just how impressed I have been with the work that the school does to create community within the school and within the larger community. And I am sure that they would welcome the expanding community of Pennycook as well and do it very well.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Ashley Pizzamenti, and I'm a proud parent of a fellow dragon at Stephen Manor Elementary. My daughter first came to Stephen Manor Elementary, and she was shy, struggling with some speech delay, and unsure of herself outside of her comfort zone. Because of the outstanding TK program and close-knit community at Stephen Manor, she has flourished, not only in her grades, but in her confidence, friendships, and her love for learning. Stephen Manor is more than just a building. It's where working parents know their children are safe outside after the bell rings. It's where families come together for events and to support each other during hard times. It's where kids find mentors that believe in them, even when they don't believe in themselves. Closing the doors would just displace these students, and it would be vital. It would be vital to hurt our community. I understand the challenges that we are being faced with enrollment, tight budgets, and difficult decisions. But closing the school would, I'm a little nervous, sorry guys. But closing the school would be irreversible and have consequences that would affect our children. I urge you tonight to please consider our tight-knit community with a vote, this school, to close, sorry guys. I urge you tonight to please consider our tight-knit community when placing this vote. Our children deserve not just an education, but a place where they feel seen, heard, and safe. Thank you.
Good evening, board members. My name is Lori Tackmeyer, and I've been with the district for 26 years. I have been at 7 different school sites in this district. I was there when you closed CAVE. I was there when our school was decimated. I was there when the community was hurt. Our community at Stephen is feeling that right now. Our community is feeling unheard and unloved and unaccepted. That's what happens when you close a school. We get you have hard decisions. I'm not going to reiterate. We have better classrooms. We have better gym. We have big community involvement. We have a wonderful church. You don't need to hear that. What I need you to hear is our community is strong. Our community is huge. Closing us decimates that community. And if you have not lived through that, it's hard. It's very hard. And telling us in December is going to make it even harder, because then we live the rest of the year with that. We are a tight-knit community. We are a low-turnover school. We are a full school. We are a school with classrooms that we need more teachers in, not less. I'm also on your safety committee. I go to every school site in this district with Irene Reynolds. Our classrooms are nicer, neater, more modern, more updated than Pennycook, excuse me. If you've been out in the portables in Pennycook, they're full of mold. They smell as soon as you walk in. It's not acceptable for our children to go from this wonderfully modern building to one that's not as nice. We don't have the gym there. We don't have the PTO there. We don't have the church support there. We don't have all the things that make Stephen strong. So I would encourage you to listen to our community members today and think about our community. It's not just about saving money. It's not just about, there are other things we can do. There are other sites we can look at. There are sites that are declining enrollment. There are sites that are smaller than us. Please look to them instead of Stephen.
Those are all the public comments I have at this time.
Just want to clarify a couple things I heard in the public comments. Just to be clear, this is not the school board. I heard a couple people mention board. This is not the school board. This is the 7-Eleven committee. This committee is not making a decision on school closures. I just want to be really clear about that in the timeline. That decision, when it gets to that point, will be made by the school board. The timing right now is looking to be December. We're hopeful that by December we will have made those decisions as a school board. So I know the committee gets a lot of feedback. Just to be clear, this committee is not the school board. This committee was selected from folks who applied to be on the committee, and I appreciate the work you've all done. And it's hard sometimes to hear the comments because, as we all know, closing schools is a really challenging thing for everyone involved. So I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you. So that concludes our public comment period. And then we can move to item number 4, which is to approve the minutes from the July 28th, 2025 meeting. And if we are prepared to do that, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes?
Thank you, Tilak. So we have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Hazel. And then we'll go ahead and vote. So Hazel, how do you vote?
Aye.
Kimberly, I. Tilak,
Aye.
Marnie,
Abstain.
Christy,
Aye.
Arshay,
Aye.
Sandra,
Aye.
Kathleen,
Aye.
Ivana.
Aye.
Thank you. So the motion passes. And we can move on to item number 5, which is the committee deliberation. So we will receive information from the report drafting subcommittee. So I'll pass it over.
And hi, everyone. I'm legal counsel for the district, and I just wanted to kind of set up item number 5 for the committee. So we have the draft report, which I can bring up on the screen right here. This is the version that was provided to the 2 subcommittee members, Christy Gardner and Tilak Yang, to do their review and to provide any additional feedback. We did receive written comments from both of them. I don't know, are those in your binders tonight? If not, either I can share what they wrote back, or if they want to individually just share their feedback on the report, that's fine as well. Do you want to do that? You want me to go ahead and read it? Okay. I'm going to unplug this for one moment so it doesn't, because I got to sort my email really quickly. Bear with me one moment. Do you have it right there? Okay, perfect. All right. So this was from Christy Gardner, one of our subcommittee members, on Friday, August 1st. Ruben, thank you for, and this is addressed to Mr. Ruben Fernandez. Thank you for the draft. Everything looks good from my perspective. I would suggest that we include in the recommendation with regards to Federal Terrace, their work with PLCs and their district lead and kindergarten reading scores. I just found out about the success in an article addressing their work with CCEE. I also believe this school will serve as the model to replicate PLCs at other school sites. And then the other comment by Mr. Ying was just a little typo clerical error. Intact, we're just taking out a space, so nothing substantive there. But thank you for the catch. I appreciate that. And I will go ahead and turn it over to the committee to discuss the report, and I will plug this back in. And this is the opportunity for you all to have a substantive discussion regarding the draft report if you want to make any changes to the findings or recommendation, and that could be something that I type up in real time. Thank you.
Did anybody have any additional thoughts that they wanted to bring to the table?
When will we get is it the equity impact report? When did we receive that already?
No, that is in progress, and so that's a separate function that the
Okay.
district is following.
Okay.
The first draft of the equity impact report won't occur until September.
Okay.
So We do include language, I believe, in here that makes reference, yes, in number 6. In combination with considering this report and the findings and recommendations included here, and we recommend that the board consider the results of the equity impact analysis being prepared to evaluate impacts related to the various potential closure and or relocation of district properties. And really that's to lay out that the committee is really looking at the information that was given to it at this time, and understanding that the EIA has not been yet completed. But for the board to consider the 7-Eleven committee's findings and recommendation in conjunction with the EIA before making any final decision.
That's very important to me. I am the education chair for the NAACP, and that impact report will be very important. Thank you.
I'm wondering, when we went through the ordering of the schools, we acknowledged that Stephen and Pennycook were essentially on an equal par with respect to maintenance costs, with respect to savings, and with respect to their position with respect to bond money. And the only distinguisher really was the physical condition. And I think we've heard that here tonight from people from Stephen. So I would ask that we consider, it's going to be a close decision, I think, regardless of how we as a committee rank the schools. But I would suggest that we consider flipping Stephen and Pennycook, just to denote that we've acknowledged that the physical condition of Stephen is better, frankly. That's my 2 cents.
I agree with that. In addition, it appears that they have a larger multi-purpose room, which I think would be extremely important if you're going to be moving several hundred additional students to that campus, to any campus.
Yeah, I think, it seems likely that one of those is going to be repurposed just because of their physical proximity to one another. And some of the details of which of those, I feel it's hard for us to make a decision. I think that'll come down to the board, given things like physical condition, given things like traffic flow, and the larger number of students. I know that can be an issue more for Stephen than for Pennycook. And the fact that potentially one of those, whichever campus doesn't get closed, could be reused for the Finney students. The thoughts that I had kind of sort of separately were, when I was reflecting on this, were regarding the first few and the thing that the superintendent said last time, which is that it's likely not just going to be one, but several of the schools that are going to close. And so the essentially 2 thoughts. One was thinking about the equity impact analysis that we don't get to see. The likelihood of the top 2, 3 schools probably being in strong consideration for closure. Did we want to have the ordering at the top that we have? Lincoln and then Finney. Is that what we want to sort of communicate? Or would it be Finney and then Lincoln? So especially given that potentially Finney has another site that would keep the whole student body intact. So that was one thought that I had. And then 2, the concern, I guess, that I don't know, or maybe would like more information on, that if it is 3, the ordering that we have, if Finney moved to Stephen or Penny, whichever one consolidates 2, would that only count as 2? Like, let's say they closed the top 2 and then moved Finney to one of those other 2. And then they had to close a third. it would be another one besides Stefan and Penny, right? So it would be like the next one down on the list. Because it wouldn't be counted as 3, because one of them is still being repurposed as a school. You don't understand what I'm saying? Or
Testing. I think what has to be taken into consideration, and Superintendent Aurelio can probably share more about this, is that there are several programs at Finney, or they could be dispersed to multiple school sites,
Right,
not just
so
necessarily
the
one.
task for the committee, John Finney Education Complex, I think meeting 2 where we came, I gave my recommendations at that time. Right now, I wouldn't be recommending a closure of those programs. But we do have a potential revenue generation of that location. That was why the John Finney even made it to this list, was really about the facilities. So I would say that realistically, we would not be looking at closing the alternative high school program. It might be relocated. And that relocation would depend on what's available. And that would, there are multiple dominoes that happen here. I threw a number like 3 schools out there for closure. It could be more, it could be less. That really depends on the data we get. We're looking at what is going to be our enrollment data for the fall, our budget data that is a constant moving target. And part of that is the revenue we generate. So this morning, we had our launch with our certificated staff, and I made it pretty clear how attendance impacts the funding. And where if we're funded at 89%, we're leaving 11% of the funding on the table that we never receive. That's significant. If you even at a low end say it's $1 million per percentage, that's $11 million right there that we're just leaving. We're talking about cutting $15 million next school year. So the difference that makes is significant. So it's a moving target. Today, my stance on which schools to close or how many might change in September and October. That's why we're not getting to a decision until December, when these pieces are in place and we have all the data. So for you all in this committee, it's really about, like I said from the beginning, you're not telling us which schools to close. You're just kind of giving us a ranking. If we had to start here, end here. It doesn't mean that's what the board is going to do. The board will have more information than you all had. And that could change. The order could change which schools are selected.
I just wanted to say, I think I'm in agreement with what Sandra was proposing about possibility of switching, but I feel like that case could be made for a lot of them for me personally. I would like to see, I think, item number 6 on the committee's recommendation be moved up, since so much of that decision for the board will be around the equity that we as a committee did not have, and I think that plays a huge part into how we're making these recommendations, and because we don't have the information, we're receiving some public comment, but not all of the schools have shown up or community. So I think it's difficult to make the ranking that we're being asked to do when we don't have all of the valid information. So that would be my recommendation, to move 6 up to 1. So the recommendation in 6 is that it be considered with this report the equity impact analysis that we do not have, and that's what they're going to be. So I think that should be at the very top of everything, because then it won't matter our ranking if the data says something completely different.
I like that idea.
I like that idea as well, and I would make a motion that we move recommendation number 6 to be the first, if we need a motion.
Do we need a motion? You can, or you can just vote. Let's vote. Okay, so let me go back to my little list. Put my little people. Okay. Hazel.
No.
I vote yes. Tilek?
Yes.
Marnie,
Yes.
Christy,
Yes.
Arshay,
Yes.
Sandra,
Yes.
Kathleen,
Yes.
Ivana.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, I will go ahead and move finding 6 to the top, with the understanding that each of the findings carry equal, merit. And so it's just more to draw the attention of the board to that specific finding as they consider the others that follow. Okay.
So I heard potentially some shifting in the rank order. Is that something the committee is still deliberating on, or are we keeping the rank order as is?
I would dive in and suggest that we switch Pennycook and Stefan. Make Pennycook 4, Stefan 3, with the concept of merging Pennycook into Stefan.
I don't know if other people have thoughts. I still would like the ordering the way that it is. I think, again, if the Finney students move into Stephen Manor, that would keep the site in use as a part of a community, bring a new population of students in, and potentially, again, depending on what gets decided, that we are not that, body. But also doubling the population of Stephen and the associated traffic in that intersection right off the highway is, I know it's a little bit of a toss-up, but at this point, I tend to prefer the way the listing is here.
I'd like to see it changed, only because of the community that they've built at that school. I think it would be disrupted if they were to move to Pennycook. And I think that if the Pennycook students move to Stephen Manor, it would only increase the community and make it even better. Plus, there's the multipurpose room that is there for all of the students. And I think elementary kids use that a great deal more than the continuation students would.
So I think, for me, I would leave it as it is, because last meeting, the numbers were all different because we all had thought about it, right? And we put up our numbers. Then certain schools were here, and it swayed everybody. Now we have different schools here, and it's swaying everybody. We don't make the decision. And the more we just keep thinking about it and listening to schools, we want to keep them all open, but we can't. And it's not our decision to close, if that makes any sense. We don't make that decision, we're just giving this list. I'd love to keep them all open.
No, I think you're right about that. But the one thing that we did hear today that I was not aware of as, explicitly, was the condition issues. The fact that, again, the multi-purpose room is there, the classrooms are more modernized, it's a more modern school. It just seems like that makes more sense as a go forward. But you're right, we're not really going to make the final decision. And it's 6 to 1, half a dozen maybe to the other. But just to send a message, I think that perhaps we've acknowledged and we understand that condition difference could be a significant factor. I think that makes sense.
I agree with Kathleen that whoever's in the audience it tends to sway. We would like to keep them all open, but realistically, we know that that is fiscally impossible. The board is going to make the decision, and I think that the board will have heard how what the committee has looked at, and I think that the board is fully capable of making the best decision with, and very well it could be that Stephen will still be the one that stays open. But at some point, we have to cut the discussions and the changing of our minds and everything. I think this committee has worked very well and made some very good decisions based upon the information, but we're not the decision makers. I think the more information that you can provide to a board, that's the most important thing, so that they can make a decision based upon the best available information.
So I'm thinking about facilities for elementary students versus if we were to move Finney programs over to that area. And I know that Pennycook has facilities that I think would be better for older students, and Stephen has facilities better for younger students, including like the multi-purpose room, being able to eat inside when it's raining, having, performance space that maybe Finney may or may not need. And I think it's okay for us to, kind of change our minds a little bit, and after getting more and more information, because we've been given some data, but not, some more practical data, some square footage data, but that doesn't really show things like, what is the parking like? What's the traffic like? What are the facilities like? So, having more experience with that as time has gone on, I think has helped us make better decisions. And I would like to include in the report, when we rank them, like what the reasoning is. Like, why are we putting Lincoln at the top, and kind of having some, if we are to change Stephen and Pennycook, why did we say Stephen fourth? Or over Pennycook. So like some rationale, so that the board understands where we're coming from. Do we want a motion?
So the numbers came last meeting. So we had a spreadsheet up. Everybody did their ranking. Yes. So we took your email, we took Ivana's email, and then we placed them in. That's how we got to those numbers. And then we broke it down by the recommendations that are here, the 1 through 7, for the details. So that's how we got to that part. So all that heavy discussion happened last meeting. So are you wanting to change one of the recommendations or add a recommendation?
No, what I was going to make a motion to switch the ranking of Stephen and Pennycook. So Pennycook goes to 3 and Stephen goes to 4.
I think the best way to figure this one out is you're gonna have to do kind of a vote and just see where the committee lies on 3 and 4.
So let's go ahead and vote to do the switch. So who's in favor of doing the switch from Pennycook from 4 to 3? So moving Stephen down. Hazel,
No.
I'm a no. Tilek,
No.
Marnie,
Yes.
Christy,
Yes.
Arshay,
Yes.
Sandra,
Yes.
Kathleen,
No.
Ivana.
Yes.
What was the vote?
So 5-4, yes.
Yes, okay.
5-4, yes.
So we'll make the switch.
I just wanted to help everyone recall that during the last meeting, this is what we went through last time. So now we just really flipped it back to what it was originally. Not everyone was in agreement with 3 and 4, the way it was right before it changed. So I just wanted to make that note because I think we deliberated for quite some time over these same 2, and now we've literally just reversed them back.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you, Arshay. I think for me, it would be helpful to see in the recommendation for this one that, like, along with the equity report of what would make most sense for those communities, that also, like, the conditions of the facilities are considered. Because I think last time what swayed me to make the switch was because Penny Cook School was more present and stated how of being able to house Stephen, which was information I wasn't aware of, happened before I lived in this area. So having that information, knowing that, it was possible to already house, just made sense for then me to feel comfortable with the recommendation I was voting for. So I think whatever, with this switch, then having that, not only are they looking at the equity, but also like the conditions, and whatever costs, like, which they're already gonna do, but that's something that swayed us, and then hopefully the community showing up to those Board of Education meetings to let them know for sure, since they'll be making the decision.
I just want to note that facilities condition will certainly be a substantive component of the EIA report. So when we say as our number one finding here that the board consider this report and findings in addition to the equity impact analysis, that is going to be inclusive of the facilities conditions, transportation, all the various metrics that were laid out in a prior meeting. So we can include it, but it might be a bit duplicative if we add that in. I just want to say that. And then I also, is it Marnay? Yeah. Okay. I also wanted to speak to that comment you made as well in terms of articulating why you might have chosen a specific rank order. Of course, we have the meeting minutes. That's all going to go before the board. And then in addition, there's going to be an opportunity, and it's later on in the agenda, to select 2 or 3 members of this committee to present to the board at its August 20th meeting. And that's going to be a chance for you all to, whoever selected, to provide additional context and information to support the rank order that was provided in this report and the specific findings and recommendations. I should also note that because the committee decided, majority, to switch the ranking of Pennycook and Stephen Manor, I made the corresponding change to finding number 4. You probably saw me typing it, so I'm just going to read it out loud. Close Pennycook Elementary School and consolidate Pennycook students to Stephen Manor Elementary School. Also, and this is one thing to consider, repurpose Pennycook Elementary School for other district programs or uses. Is the committee in agreement with that change to the finding to reflect its discussion? Okay.
Is there further deliberation that we need to have, committee, or how are we feeling about our recommendations?
I just want to mention again, because I know, Kathleen, several times again, we're not making the decisions, but I still think that we're not absolving what our responsibility is, which is rank them. We can throw up our hands and say, we don't make the decision, so it doesn't matter which order they go in, but, we came together for a reason, so this should express our feelings one way or the other. And then the other outcome is just the public, right? We have a lot of members of the public here. We have members of the public that may be watching it on video after the fact or reading the newspapers or whatever. And so there's some value to whatever we communicate in terms of what the public at large feels is the, how we represent their input and as members of the community. Again, so that being said, I'll just gently bring up again the idea of reordering 1 and 2, just in the sense that, on the one hand, if it's 2, that probably won't make a difference, and that's acknowledged, right? If they're closing several of the schools, both of those are at risk. But on the other hand, Lincoln Elementary is a small program that may have a large like a equity and diversity component to its student body, and do we as a small committee want to say that our first choice for closure is that school, knowing that several of them are going to be closed? So I just wanted to bring it up. I'm not massively attached to it, but I'm slightly wanted to, suggest that we reorder Finney and Lincoln, and that's all.
I have a question for the superintendent. When we talk about repurposing a site, something that was a huge red flag for me is one of the community members mentioned mold. And so when we talk about public health and, things like that, when we say we're going to repurpose something, or when VCUSD says they're going to repurpose something, that obviously requires an investment.
Correct.
And so with that additional investment, which I deem required investment to correct that, how is it balanced with, we had to close it due to financial concerns, and then we're able to then put an investment into rehabilitating it, and then what is it, how do we deem how it's used after that? Just a question.
Yeah,
Obviously,
and actually, I'm going to probably let
Okay.
Mr. Fernandez answer that as the assistant soup of business and operations. He's always looking at those things as well.
I think overall, we're looking at the long-term viability of all of our sites and classrooms. But to answer your question on how dollars can be reinvested into those spaces, those learning spaces, we would use dollars that are not associated with the general fund. So the district has access to what's called capital facilities through our bond, through our CFD funds, as well as state facility funds that we're reimbursed for and we apply for grants for. So those dollars necessarily wouldn't come out of the general fund, they would come from those funding sources, which one of the things we're thinking about is, okay, once we're past this stage, how do we reinvest in our schools to make them amazing spaces to learn? So.
I asked not to change my vote.
No.
Or
It's
re-rank.
great.
I just wanted for knowledge. Thank you.
One thing I did want to, T-Lex commentary on the ranked list. I want to caution this body because, I threw a number out there of 3. We don't have that number yet, realistically, and every single school on this list, all the way down to 7, could potentially close. Not saying 7 schools are going to close, but depending on the rest of the information the board receives as we move through the process, this list could shift in the minds of the school board. So just putting a school at 7, and this is right now for the Highland community, doesn't mean you're off the hook as far as a closure. I just want to be clear about that. I don't want people walking away from this committee or walking away from these meetings thinking, whew, we dodged a bullet, we're going to be fine. We're not 3, we're now 4. Just want to be really clear. That decision is going to happen with more information. And the equity impact analysis might tell us we need to skip some schools on this list. So just to clarify that, I don't want not to be the downer in the room, but this list is a list, and if the school's not named on the list, you can breathe a sigh of relief. You're not on this list. But we do know this list is here, and so that's what's going to be the determining factor as we work through this list.
So where are we at?
Hello, test. I want to note one thing. So Christy Gardner had provided a written comment about adding some content to the findings. Is that something that you still want to add, or is that something that if 2 or 3 members are presenting to board that could be shared at that time?
I think either. I think it needs to be expressed, whether it's in the report or if it's a verbal expression in front of the board. Because I think it's important to recognize when students are succeeding based on a program that's implemented in a specific school.
So I leave that to the committee, whether you want to memorialize that in the findings themselves, or recommendation, I should say, for Federal Terrace, correct? So it would be for number 6, or if that would be something that could be included either in a slide presentation or in talking points, or the general presentation to the board at the upcoming meeting when the report, the final version, will be presented to the board.
What do you want?
Do you want to suggest language?
Well, I guess we could, well, what did I write originally?
One moment. I can't toggle between my screens very well, so I'm gonna look over my shoulder.
And while you're doing that, I want to recognize TLEC did put a suggestion out there. Not to ignore his suggestion, but
Have like a low key. Just does anybody open to that idea of changing Finney and Lincoln, or is that a uphill battle that nobody wants to touch? Or do we just take a vote? Does anybody okay with that? Raise your hand if you'd like to change Finney and Lincoln. 1, 2. Okay. You don't have to vote. All right, that's fine.
Okay, so Christie's statement was that we include in the recommendation for Federal Terrace their work with PLCs and their district lead in kindergarten reading scores. So do you want to include just a brief statement in number 6? The committee chose to place Federal Terrace low on the list of recommended closures because of its unique geographic location, strength as a community school, proximity to a local neighborhood park. I'm going to take out the comma right there. And work with PLCs and their district lead in kindergarten reading scores. I was going to say readiness, but reading scores. Something
Sounds
to that
good.
effect. And when you say district lead, are you saying that they are the leader in reading scores?
They scored higher than any of the other schools.
Okay.
That's my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, let me formulate some of the language.
Federal
and then-
Terrace kindergarten reading scores, were they the highest? So, some assessments in kindergarten were the highest at Federal Terrace.
And I think that that's a program, I think that the other schools, I think that we want them, and we want it in the other schools as well, the PLCs, so they could serve as a model.
How about for the last thing right there? So their work with professional learning communities and their academic progress in kindergarten reading scores.
Perfect.
And remove the word local because it's redundant.
Does that work? Marnie suggested literacy. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so let me just read it back. The committee chose to place Federal Terrace low on the list of recommended closures because of its unique geographic location, strength as a community school, proximity to a local neighborhood park, their work with professional learning communities, or PLCs, and academic progress and kindergarten literacy.
I agree with Tilak to remove the word local.
To remove what?
The word local.
Just the neighborhood part.
Perfect. It is redundant, isn't it? Okay, there we go. Sorry, I was hearing multiple things, so I didn't catch that. I can tell. I appreciate it.
I think that with whoever, like when we decide who wants to be present for the presentation, I think some of those statistics would be nice for all the other schools as well. If we're naming it for Federal Terrace, it would be nice to name for Lincoln the literacy program that they just started not that long ago. I think some of the things that were brought up today in regards to like Stephen having a better campus to Pennycook also makes me feel like it's not fair to the Pennycook students to have to endure that. So like they deserve community as well. And I'm sure that's what they were talking about last time that they were here, that is also a community school. So maybe just having some of those things be like the strong communities. Like I feel like most of the schools on this list have shown up at least once and stated that as part of something like why they were here in the first place to speak on that school. So just mentioning that as well if we're going to mention it for one. Thoughts, committee?
I like the idea of having some kind of a bullet list as part of the presentation, to say something nice or distinctive about each of the schools, just to bring it up and say that we thought through that. I like that idea.
And I'm okay if it's not on here, if we say like we'll put it in the presentation or something.
How is the committee feeling about the current state of the report or recommendation? Are we there? Okay.
Thumbs up if you're good. Thumbs down. Do we, it doesn't say motion for this one.
Action item 6.
Yes.
Oh, I was looking at 5.
I would like to move that we approve the findings and recommendations and the final report content. Yes.
Thank you, Sandra. So we have a motion. Who would like to second?
Second.
So we'll go ahead and vote. Hazel?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Tilak?
Yes.
Marnay, sorry.
Yes.
Christy?
Aye.
Arshay?
Aye.
Sandra?
Aye.
Kathleen?
Aye.
Ivana?
Aye.
Thank you. So the motion passes.
And then we'll just need to coordinate the printing of this version of the report for your signature as the chairperson. Okay. And you can go ahead and move on to item 7.
Perfect. Okay, so discuss presentation of report to the Board of Education. Who is leading us through this? So we'll discuss and decide which members will appear at the open session board meeting on August 20th, which I believe is a Wednesday.
Yeah, it is a Wednesday evening. Open session begins at 6 p.m. in this room. Last school year when the 7-Eleven committee came out, I believe there was 4 or 5 members, and they kind of took turns speaking to different items on the recommendations. This committee can nominate 1 or 2 or 3, or you all could come. I mean, it's up to you. Want to do it, and it's your opportunity to speak to the report, to the board, introduce, there are, remember, two main components to the report. One is the designation of surplus property for the 4 schools that were identified, and then the second part is the ranked list and recommendations.
Thank you. Who is interested in attending the August 20th meeting? So I see Marnay, Arshay, Tilek, myself, Christy, Ivana. Do you have a hand up, Sandra? Sandra? Okay. Who is interested in attending to present? Sorry.
You're going to be there, Hazel. I know you will.
Okay. So it looks like most of us will be there. Are we deciding in this space, like, how we're going to present it? Like,
I think there should be 2 to 3 individuals who would be the ones speaking to the board, and then you can certainly discuss among yourselves how you envision this presentation occurring and maybe delegating out certain functions. I'm sure there could be email communication too after the fact to fine tune details, and if you need a template PowerPoint or what have you, if you want to do a slide presentation or not.
okay. So then maybe let me clarify. So we know who's going. Do the folks that said they're going, do you want to present? I would like to, but I don't have to.
I can. I'm happy to. Sure. Yes, okay. Sure.
There we go, the 3.
Is there anyone else? If needed. Okay.
So sounds like 3 main voices and others in support. We can help with, if you want to do a presentation, we can use our templates, take this report. In fact, we can probably support by doing an initial pass and sending it out to the committee. And then, we'll use a Google slide deck, which is collaborative, and so people can make adjustments and changes. That way we can get that hopefully up and ready to go before the end of the week. So we'll make sure that we get everything posted in time.
That sounds good to me.
And then I would guess our presentation would roughly follow the report, right? So there'd be a slide for each of these sections or something like that. Right. So how do we want to talk about how we're going to divide the presentation now?
You can. I kind of, if I may suggest, sort of maybe have Kimberly begin as the chair about process, maybe a sort of initial, like what the process was for the committee. And then maybe Tilek give the ranked list or the surplus, one or the other, whichever one. And then, so you split it that way. One person gives the process, sort of the background of what was done. One person speaks to the surplus property designation, and that sort of stance from the committee, and then one person speak to the recommendations on the school rankings.
Does that sound like a plan? Good.
But we don't have to decide on that now. We can decide through email, correct? Yeah, let's do it offline.
Okay.
I mean, if the structure sounds good, we'll go with that structure.
Yeah, I think at this time that sounds good to me.
Okay.
And I feel like if we see the slides and we have other suggestions, we also have Hazel and Marnay that can step into, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Just one comment, I'm sure we will, but I'd like to encourage us to make sure that we acknowledge the public participation and how important and how vital that is in the process. So, just a thought.
Agreed. Thank you, Sandra. So that was item number 7. So that meeting is next Wednesday. Right, dang, that's real quick. Okay, so then we can move on to item number 8, which is our meeting schedule, the presentation of the committee report for the regular board meeting on August 20th. As the superintendent already stated, that meeting is in the same room at 6 p.m. And we've already identified who's going to be coming and who's going to be presenting. So anything else that needs to be stated for that? Alrighty.
I'm speaking to your comment about the public. Do we want to have a section? So here's a question: is what's the timing for the presentation, and what do we want to keep it under?
So we would most likely, this type of presentation is going to get a lot of attention from our community and our public. So we'd like to do it pretty close to the beginning of the meeting, the open session, because people could do public comment based on this item. So we will have it up front. Typically, we want to keep presentations to 20 minutes or less, which I think will be enough time for you all.
Well, no, because I was just thinking, do we want to like add a little section of like highlights from the public comments that we got, or just
No,
acknowledge?
I
that
don't
we
think
got a lot
that's
of public-
necessary. I think just it's important to acknowledge that
I
the
feel like that
company.
can be stated in the processes part because it really was visible.
I think when you open it with the process, it would be a great opportunity to stress that.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so I need a motion to adjourn the meeting. Apologies.
I move that we adjourn the meeting at
6:16.
6:16.
Okay, so the motion by Hazel is to adjourn the meeting at 6:16. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Marnay. And so let's go ahead and vote. Hazel,
Aye.
myself, I, Tilak,
Aye.
Marnay,
Aye.
Christy,
Aye.
Arshay,
Aye.
Sandra,
Aye.
Kathleen, Ivana.
Hi.
Thank you all. We are officially adjourned.
And I just want to thank you all for serving on this committee. You did a tremendous lift, and we know how hard that is. So thank you.